Hello, this is my game view on Warhammer 40k Space Marine. If you're looking for innovative or complicated gameplay, then Space Marine probably isn't for you, but if you want a game which just focuses on one core element, which is fighting, then you should probably check it out. The main design goal was to blend melee and ranged combat in such a way that you could switch between them incredibly fluidly at a moment's notice, depending on what situation you were in. You can carry one melee weapon, 4 ranged weapons, and you have grenades. The melee weapons come in 3 varieties. There's a big hammer, an axe, and a sword with a chainsaw on it, which is quite possibly the best idea ever. Out of the ranged weapons, you must always carry a machine gun and a pistol, but the other 2 weapons are pretty much interchangeable. There are lots of different types of weapons, and it basically comes down to how you want to play, although some weapons will make certain sections of the game much easier. Even though enemies do not drop ammunition, conservation is not really a core part of the gameplay. You always have your melee weapon and your pistol doesn't require any ammunition. The game also provides weapon drops at routine intervals to make this a bit of a non-issue. Your shield will recharge after a period of no damage, and health regeneration is done via the use of execute moves. Execute moves can be performed on enemies that are stunned. Some are more complicated than the others and require mini quick time events. But what will happen is an enemy that is stunned, you'll do a rendered kill animation on them. The catch is that you are still vulnerable to damage during this point, and therefore it becomes a tactical choice as to when and where to do this. Once your fury gauge is full, you can use it at will to increase your damage for a small amount of time. There is no specific upgrade system in the game, but you are handed occasional upgrades to abilities you already have at regular intervals. For example, your Fury starts off being just increased damage, and then later on you get an ability to slow down time when you enter the aiming mode, which can be useful. The gameplay is not particularly diverse. You are either fighting enemies or you are running through ruins or a battlefield to try and find more enemies. During the downtime, you will often have character interaction or minor cutscenes and plot to try and push it forward, but ultimately you will find that there is just nothing to do and it is best to try and proceed to the next area as quickly as possible. Towards the start of the game, you'll face mainly horde type enemies, the orcs and goblins. The engagements will usually involve many enemies and you'll be vastly outnumbered. As the game progresses, ranged enemies at the back start to be included, and it becomes a tactical choice how to deal with them, usually either sniping them before engaging the main melee enemies, or hiding and dealing with the melee enemies out of sight, particularly as the enemies far away can often be quite damaging, especially if they've got rocket launcher type weapons. As the game reaches the end, the horde enemies are replaced with smaller groups of harder hitting enemies, and I found that melee attacks by the player become less and less relevant because you just take far too much damage from them to get in close, and it is much better to try and take them out with weapons further away. That was a little look at the gameplay from Warhammer 40k Space Marine. For the full review, please check out the link in the description. My name is Vico, and thank you for watching.